Three handsome lads right there. Sorry if the picture quality isn't that great, but this is a picture that is very old. It's as old as World War II. These three guys, these three kids, one of them was my father, and the other two were his brothers. I guess I will tell you who's who because it's gonna have, when I start talking, I have to give away which one is who. But that handsome dude in the middle, that was my dad. His name was Jim. His brother Joe. And his brother Billy. Check out that patch on Billy's arm. Airborne Ranger. World War II. He was captured behind enemy lines, ended up in a POW camp. And if you've ever seen the movie Band of Brothers, I don't think he was in the D-Day. I think see, that's the thing. These guys never talked about this stuff. They never talked about the war. They were in it, but I mean, Billy, the Airborne Ranger on the right, died when I was 6 years old. I never got a chance to know him. My Uncle Joe, never got a chance to know him. He was gone before I was old enough to talk to anybody too. I think he died when I was like a baby. My dad was in World War. He was in the Navy, and he never talked about the stuff. He talked about stuff once in a while. He told me about like Billy being in the POW camp. That's as far as it went. He never said anything else. I found out other things later from my cousin, who was a good friend of Billy's. Things like, when he was in the camp, he wasn't the rank then, but I believe he was a, what's under sergeant? Corporal. I think he was a corporal. And, my cousin told me a story about him. I'm going to put this down so you can see me. One of my cousins told me a story about him, in the POW camp, when the new guys would come in, he would go around to the new guys and take some of their supplies that they were given, their care packages, and he'd have to give it to some of the other prisoners because they were like in really bad shape. My Uncle Billy, I guess when he came out, he was like a skeleton from what I was told. And he'd have to take their rations, some of the newer guys, and they wouldn't like it too much, but they'd get the rations from them to give it to the guys that were there for a long time who were malnourished and they really needed this stuff. I guess a lot of the guys probably didn't put up too much of a fight because they knew they were helping the brothers to me. But anyway, welcome back to Choxy's Den. I'm Den. Choxy's in there somewhere sleeping. She just ran the room because she doesn't like to be on camera, I guess. I don't know what the problem is with her. She's camera shy, I guess. But yeah, that was my father and his brothers. And I want to talk about my dad a little bit in this video because he deserves some recognition. He was a great guy. Yeah, I touched on it the other night, my last video, that I remember him spanking me once because I stole money from his bride. That young guy in that picture would kick the crap out of me. If it was younger days and I was on his level, I would have kicked the crap out of me. But luckily, I just got the belt. I stole money from my mother. I'm not proud of it. I was like 8 years old or so. And he spanked me. And he was probably in his 50s then. And I look at that picture, and I realize that him and my mother were in their 40s when I was born. So he lived many lives before I even came around. I mean, he was in World War II. He was in the fire department. He was a pretty tough guy. And then his Uncle Billy, not his Uncle Billy, his brother Billy, my Uncle Billy, died when I was 6. So that would have made my dad around, I think he was around 46 when that happened. He must have been, yeah, he was probably like 46. 46-year-old guy, he just lost his brother. Then poof, here I come into the world. Like I own the place. And he must have been going through a lot. He went through the war, he was on the fire department. He lost his brother. He lost other brothers too. He had more brothers than just Billy and Joe. He had a brother, half brother Franny, who was a great guy. Brother Tommy was younger. Brother Johnny, who was also a veteran, he was too young to go to World War II, so he was in the Korean conflict, as they call it. He was in the Korean War. Never met him either. He died in 1957, 6 years before I was even born, from cancer. And I regret not meeting him because I heard he was a tough dude. I would have loved to have a guy like that when I was growing up to like show me the ropes and stuff. My father was a tough guy. I mean, but he has hands full with my mom with mental illness and everything. He really had a lot on his plate. But I want to get more into the future now. Like when he was on the fire department in 1973, he got in the fire department in 1957. Same year his brother died. I just realized that just now. So his brother died, and you get on the fire department around the same time. Anyway, so he's on the fire department until 1973. He broke his ankle, really bad. It was icy night. He slipped on a hose, and there was snow and ice and everything. Broke his ankle, and back then they couldn't handle a broken ankle the same way. They had to put a pin in his ankle, and he had to go on retirement, on disability, because he couldn't work. I mean, to the day he died, from that point on, if it was going to rain, you'd know a few days before, because he could barely walk. I mean, he was in tough shape, but he still worked. You know, he had retired on disability. He still worked anyway. He did like a small painting business on the side, climbing ladders, and he wasn't faking this disability. He wasn't faking it, but he'd work when he could, because he just didn't want to sit around. So he must have retired. He must have been out in disability when he was like 55 or so, or 50. Maybe he was 50. I forgot. It was somewhere around there. I think he might have been like 55. And he had to go out in disability. And my dad used to drink. He wasn't like a bad drunk though. He was like a kind of a friendly kind of drunk. He stayed to himself. I shouldn't say drunk. I mean, his beer of choice was Schlitz. If you ever heard of that, that was like an old beer. He used to drink that back in the 70s. So I am trying to get comfortable on this couch. I can't do it. So he was okay. I'm sorry. So he was a Schlitz beer drinker, and he'd drink like a 6-pack every night. Maybe not every night. Maybe on the weekends. He'd just sit at the kitchen table, listen to the radio, the police scanner, in Boston, listen to what's going on. And he didn't do much with me and my brothers. Maybe when they were younger, because they were older than me. But he never did much with me. He never go out in the backyard and throw a ball around with me or anything. It wasn't like that type of relationship. Because he was older. I mean, by the time I was 10, he was 55. He must have been 55 when I was 10. They had me in their mid 40s. My parents. So he was kind of like. The guys back then didn't go out and throw balls on the kids and stuff like they do now, and it was just a different time. But he drank quite a bit, and he wasn't like a bad drunk. But anyway, getting back to right after he had to go out on disability, he started drinking a little bit more. And one time my parents had to go to one of my cousins got married, so they went to the wedding, and then the after party at the whatever you call it, not the shower. What do you do after a wedding? Besides suffer, if you're the one getting married. That was a joke. But anyway, the reception. They were at the reception, and he was a beer drinker. And people were putting whiskey in front of him, and he wasn't a whiskey drinker. He didn't like whiskey. And it would make him kind of mad, to make him angry drunk. But anyway, he wasn't angry then, but on the way home from that place, and people used to drink and drive back then. I drank and drive when I was younger. I'm not proud of it, but it was a different era back then. I don't drink anymore. I'm sober for 18 years, 19 years. But him and my mother were on their way home from back to Boston from Foxborough, where the Patriots played. That's where the wedding was. And back then it was like a little tiny town. And so he decided to run his car up a guideline on a telephone pole, and he flipped the car to the side. So there they are. My mother and father all, they didn't get hurt. They didn't get hurt. No, he didn't get hurt. She didn't get hurt. A little banged up and bruised, but they were home that same day, the same night. Except for him, he got arrested for drinking and driving. So So he lost his license for a year, and in that year, he decided he was going to stop drinking, and he tried a couple of times. But he couldn't go to the liquor store, and we lived in the city. We were like 2 blocks away from the liquor store, the Packy, as we call it here in Boston. So he'd walk up the street, come back with his brown bag of beer, and I'd look at him. I was kind of ashamed. I mean, because I was old enough to know what happened. I was 10 years old. I knew what was going on. He lost his license for drinking, and so he'd go up to the corner store and get his brown bag of beer, 6-pack or 12 beers. Didn't have 12 packs back then. He wanted a 12-pack. He had 2 6-packs. That's basically what it was. This is back in the 70s. And, me and my friends would be out on the street, like playing street hockey. Street hockey was a big thing back then. It's a long orange street hockey ball, and it was good. But, one day he comes walking out of the house. He goes up the street. And me and my friends were out there. There's probably like 8 of us, maybe 10 of us. It was a good neighborhood. We had some good kids in that neighborhood. And he walks up the street, and I was like, oh, where's he going? It was like a hot July day, I think. It was in the summer. It was a hot day. And, I was just watching him walk up the street. I'm thinking he's going to come back with beer in front of my friends. It was kind of embarrassing. And so we're playing hockey, and here he comes walking down the street with his bag, with his 6-pack bag. And he walks up in front of the house. We're playing hockey right in front of my house. Had the net set up like Wayne's World. You gotta move the net and all that stuff. And so he gets in front of the house, and he stops and looks at me and all my friends. He says, "Anybody want one?" And I'm thinking, Dad, he's not really gonna give anybody beer. And we're all looking at each other. I'm looking at my friends, and they're looking at me. I'm like, I don't know what he's got. I don't know. So he says, come on over and get one. Takes a bag. He reaches in the bag, pulls out an ice cream sandwich. Bag was filled with ice cream sandwiches, nothing else, and no beer in there. Just, I could cry right now thinking about it. It was like, wow. And he's handing out ice cream sandwiches to all my friends, and the bag was empty. He just took the bag, he crumpled it up right in front of us, walked in the house. That was one of the best memories I have of my father, because I thought he was walking in with beer. I thought he was going to give everybody a beer, a bunch of 10, 11-year-old beer. And I'll come here, ice cream sandwiches. And I was never so happy. I just love that memory. But that was the guy my dad was. That was him. And over the years, we weren't real close over the years. My mother had mental illness and stuff, like I had said. And I almost want to make that a 2-part video, but I'm gonna try to squeeze all into one. But anyway, I had 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and my oldest brother doesn't speak to any of us anymore because it's just political. He doesn't want to talk to any of us anymore. Because we supported Trump. I don't know if I even support Trump anymore because he's not getting anything done like I wanted him to do. But anyway, he hasn't talked to us since 2016, the first time Trump ran. He doesn't talk to anybody. He might talk to my other brother because they were closer in age. They talk a little bit, but not too much like they used to. So, and my brother's like he's a classical pianist. Nothing wrong with that. If you're a classical pianist, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't panic. But he grew up. He went to the conservatory in Boston, and then went to Juilliard in New York. That's another story in itself. I might get to in this video. So he's hanging around with all these musicians and stuff. So he's getting his information. He's getting bombarded with all this information. So he's on that side of the fence. And I remember after my mom died in 1985. I was still in the house with my father. I was in my 20s, mid-20s. It was just me and him at that point. Everybody else has moved out. And they had bought a smaller house. We moved out of the city to like the suburbs outside Boston into a little cape. And I used to go jogging all the time. I used to drive to this little place the next town over, drive around a little pond, jog around a little pond. I loved it. So I'd go there. And then my father says one day, yeah, Kevin's coming over today. Like, I'm going jogging. I can't stick around. I don't want to stick around. So he says he's bringing pizza. I'm like, well, just save me a slice. I'll have some when I get home. If he's not here, save me a slice. So I go off jogging. I jog like three or 4 miles like I usually did. Can't do that anymore. And I get back home. My brother Kevin had already been here and gone. And my father has like this smile, like a smile on his face. There's some pizza in the fridge. Like, oh, really? You saved me a slice. I go in the fridge. I pull out the pizza. I open the box. What do you think is on that pizza? Spinach. Spinach on a pizza. So I said to my father, look at my father, I said, has Kevin ever done anything normal his whole life? And my father just started cracking up because he knew I was going to say something like that. And so we're both cracking up. But that was like a good moment too, because that was like a funny thing. And so he starts laughing, and I didn't have any pizza. I didn't have any spinach pizza. But a couple of years later, my father got cancer, and it was skin cancer at first. Then they found out it went into his lymph nodes and everything. He was gone within, I'm guessing within 5 weeks from the time they diagnosed us. But he had to get a skin graft on his nose at first, and then they didn't catch the other stuff until afterwards. So up until that point, me and him, we started getting close. We weren't like really close. Like we'd sit around and have conversations and stuff. But we'd watch movies and stuff once in a while. And like one of the, we watched like Lethal Weapon all the time. Lethal Weapon, so I had that on video cassette, and Die Hard. And there's a movie called Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty. If anybody's ever seen it, it's a great movie. He plays a football player who gets injured, and the whole beginning of the movie is him trying to get back into shape, and he's working on his knee because he had a knee injury, and he's riding around on his bicycle, and so me and my father used to watch that together once in a while. So coming to find out, I'm a drunk too. Not shortly after that, I lost my license for a year for drinking and driving. So I'm riding my bike back and forth to work every day. I work like 2 towns over. I ride 6 miles on my bicycle and ride home again after work. And then my father found out he had cancer, and he was at the VA, and somehow they did something to cause him to have a stroke. We never knew what happened. One day he was like coherent and he knew who everybody was, and the next day he just didn't know who anybody was. So that's probably one of the worst times of my life, because when I went in to see him the first time, I didn't know what to expect. I think my sisters would tell me that he's not gonna know who you are, then. Like, oh man. So I walk in, I say, hi Dad. He looks at me and goes, oh, Warren Beatty. I'm like, no, Dad, it's not Warren Beatty, it's me, Dennis. But he didn't know who it was. And then but it was funny, he associated with me with Warren Beatty, because Warren Beatty used to ride his bike everywhere, and here I am riding my bike back and forth to work every day. So I think that was pretty cool. I don't look like Warren Beatty, but he associated me with Warren Beatty because he, the bike riding thing. And so, make a long story short, we brought him home. We brought hospice care in, and me, my 2 brothers, and my 2 sisters, and my brother-in-laws took care of him. Like the last, it was probably 3 weeks he lived, and that was a tough time taking care of my dad, seeing him like that. I mean, because he couldn't do anything. He just laid in bed, and we had to take care of everything. I mean, everything, and it was terrible. But we didn't mind doing it, because we loved him. And what happened the last day of his life, we had hospice in there, and they pretty much know when the time is up, because like the breathing. He was taking like 1 breath every, I forget what it was, like every 2 minutes or something like that. Your man come out. It was just a very slow breathing pattern, and so they knew when he was pretty much going to pass away. It was going to be either that day or the next day or something. So me and my 2 brothers, we left my 2 sisters at the house, and we had him at his house where I lived with him, at the same house where we lived. We brought him in a hospital bed and everything in hospice. And me and my 2 brothers went to the funeral home to pick out a casket. The 3 of us. even though Kevin, we never really, I never really got along with Kevin that well. He was my older brother. He's probably like 10, 11 years older than me, so he's a lot older. So we go to get the casket, and I was never really, like I said, I've never really been that close to Kevin. And we get back to the house, and my sisters left, and they left us there. And we knew it was coming. We knew the end was coming soon. And me and my two brothers are standing there. I'm at my father's right side on the bed. My brother Jimmy's at the foot of the bed. My brother Kevin is on the other side of the bed, on his left side of the bed. And I looked at my father, and I just started breaking down crying. I thought, he doesn't deserve to die like this. He doesn't deserve this. And I walked around the bed, and I went by my brother Jimmy, who I'm close to. I went with my brother Kevin. I gave him a big hug, and I'm crying, and I'm holding Kevin, and I think my brother Jim, I think said, I think he's gone. And I walked back over to the other side, and we looked at him, and he was gone. He had just died, because he was alive before that. Before I walked to the other side of the bed, he was alive, because you could see him breathing. And so come to find out, my brother Kevin. Now let me say this: my brother Kevin is an atheist, doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in anything. And I didn't think anything of this at the time, because he didn't say anything. But a few days later, my brother Jimmy tells me, Kevin said he felt Dad's spirit go through him. I said, what? He said he felt Dad's spirit leave the room and go through him. I never wanted to give my brother Kevin a hug my whole life, ever. That 1 minute I wanted to give my brother Kevin a hug was probably the moment that my dad was passing through him, and I think it was a twofold thing. I believe in God. I always believe in God. I know he's agreed with God that he was doing the best job for me, but that's a different story. But my brother Kevin didn't believe in God, but he said he felt my father's spirit go through him. And my theory on this is that my father knew me and my brother Kevin weren't close, but I think my father wanted to give me a hug on his way out, and at the same time, he wanted Kevin to know that there's an afterlife and there's a heaven and a God. I think he wanted those two things. He wanted to hug me, wanted to feel me hug him, and he wanted Kevin to believe in God. I believe that to this day. I think that's what happened in that room that day, because I never wanted to hug Kevin before in my life. Why would I want to hug I never had anything to do with him, really. And so I think that's what happened. Do you think Kevin believes in God now? Anybody? No, he doesn't. He still doesn't believe in God. He felt my dad's spirit go through him, and he told my brother Jimmy this. And my Jimmy didn't make it up, because Kevin confirmed it to my sisters. I already believe in God. There'd be no reason for Kevin to make it up to make me feel better. He didn't care about how I felt. I mean, and at least of most importance to him would reinforce my faith in God. Why would he want to do that if he's an atheist? So that wasn't it. He felt my dad's spirit go through him. When my dad left this world, he felt my dad go through him. And I got to hug my dad for the last time. I didn't know it was him, but he got to know it was me. He hugged me on the way out. And he put God in Kevin's heart, and Kevin just rejected it. I don't know. You can't, like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So anyway, that's my story about my dad. I have other ones I'm gonna talk about too, but I wasn't sure if I better cram that into a whole video or not. I mean, there's more to it, but that was an awakening moment, and I'm not bashing my brother Kevin, but how can you feel somebody's spirit go through you and think that spirit isn't on its way someplace else? Whether it's heaven, it's going to go somewhere. To God, that spirit, his soul is going somewhere. And he still didn't believe it. He still doesn't believe it to this day. How do you get through this? I know my brother Kevin. I'm a Christian. I want to see everybody go to heaven. I don't wish hell on anybody. Even my worst enemy, I wouldn't wish hell on, because it's supposed to be a pretty bad place, And Kevin still doesn't accept it, and he won't listen to me, because I'm the little brother. I'm 62 years old, but him, I'm still just a stupid little kid. it doesn't know anything, he's not going to listen to me. Even Jesus said in the Bible, what was a quote in the Bible? Kick the dirt off your feet, or kick the dust off your feet, and go from town to town, or something like that. He knew people in his own town weren't going to believe who he was, so he hit the road, just to tell the world, the apostles, and but I can't figure out my brother Kevin, and I don't know. Anybody have any suggestions? I can't. It's got to take something really profound for him to come to God. And if that wasn't it, I don't know what it's going to be. And this was 30 years ago. This is 30-something years ago. My father died in 1991. This is 35 years ago almost. And he's treading on dangerous territory by not believing. And I can't figure out why he doesn't. After an experience like that, how can anybody not believe that there's an afterworld and there's a God and heaven and Jesus? How can anybody not accept it? But anyway, that's my story for today. Oh yeah, by the way, this is Choxy's Den. I said that at the beginning. Okay, I said that. So anyway, that's I just want to tell a little story. Just if anybody else has any stories like that, I know I only have 7 subscribers. Hopefully you'll get to be more soon. But if anybody's ever watching this video in the future and they come across this video, leave a comment, if you have ever had an experience like that, if you felt somebody's spirit going through you or something as they were leaving. I'd be interested, because it's not crazy. I'm not crazy. I know, and I have one more spirit story. I'm not going to share it this time. Maybe it was nobody I knew though. But I'll share that sometime. Maybe I'll share it the next time. Maybe I'll make another video about that tomorrow. And that was pretty interesting too. It's kind of spooky too, but it was like, wow, did that just really happen? I'm not going to say what it is now, because I'll have to go into the whole story, and I think I'm already 26 minutes into this video. So I'm going to get off of here so I can upload this and get it on YouTube before midnight. But thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you to my 7 subscribers. God bless you. I hope you like this little story. And it was a true story. I'm going to show you my dad and his brothers one more time, because I want everybody to see this. These handsome young men who fought for our country. And people say I look like my dad. See if I do. I don't think I do. I got one more little story. No, this is back when I was drinking. I lived in Texas, and I brought some coworkers over to my house to drink and stuff one night. And one of them saw this picture, and they said, "Who are these guys?" I said, "Well, that's my dad and his brothers." And I said, "Guess which one in the middle is my father?" I was hammered. I'm like, "Guess which one in the middle is my father?" They started laughing. Like, "What are you laughing?" "Oh yeah, I told you." But anyway, this picture's been around in my family for a long time. Man, I'm gonna go back to my father and his brothers. There's my dad in the middle, my Uncle Johnny, my Uncle Joe, who I never knew, my Uncle Billy, who I wish I had known, because he was the Airborne Ranger. He was World War II. I mean, you think about it, and Band of Brothers. Those guys were nuts, jumping around the planes in the middle of the night. I mean, they were the real deal, man. Not knowing where they were going and what was going to happen. But he did get captured, and he was in a POW camp for most of the war, or all of the war actually, until the end of it. But anyway, people, thanks again for watching. This is Choxy's Den signing out. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.